Jimmy Kimmel is sharing a medical update on his 7-year-old son, Billy. The comedian revealed in an Instagram post on May 27th that Billy had his 3rd open heart surgery. This weekend, our boy Billy had his 3rd of 3, we hope, open heart surgery. We went into this experience with a lot of optimism and nearly as much fear, and came out with a new valve inside a happy, healthy kid. Jimmy began before giving his son's medical team a shout-out. The 56-year-old continued by calling the hospital staff miracle workers, saying, "Walking around this hospital, meeting parents at their most vulnerable, children in pain, and the miracle workers who do everything in their considerable power to save them is a humbling experience. We hope you never need Children's Hospital LA, but if you do, know that they help families regardless of their ability to pay, thanks largely to the Affordable Care Act." Another salute to the late Senator John McCain. Generous donations from companies like Disney, which I am proud to work for, and especially from generous people like you. The late-night host also thanked the president and CEO of Children's Hospital Los Angeles, as well as his family, friends, wife, and even strangers. He also addressed his son, calling him the toughest and funniest 7-year-old we know, before ending the post encouraging people to support families going through similar situations. There are so many parents and children who aren't fortunate enough to go home after 5 days. Please share your love, hearts, and prayers with them, and if it moves you, support at Children's LA, link in bio, or a great children's hospital near you, at CMN Hospitals. Nothing matters more than taking care of each other. With love and gratitude, Jimmy. In 2017, during an episode of his late-night show, Jimmy tearfully opened up about his son's birth, revealing that he was born with heart disease.
My wife was in bed relaxing, and when a very attentive nurse at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, her name is Nanush, was checking him out and heard a murmur in his heart, which is common with newborn babies, but she also noticed he was a bit purple, which is not common. So she asked me to come with her, and my wife and I assumed it would be nothing. Our daughter had a heart murmur too, and we didn't notice that he wasn't the color he was supposed to be. So I accompanied Billy and the nurse, went down the hall to another part of the hospital, the neonatal ICU, where another excellent nurse named Ann checked him out and called the doctor in. And now all of a sudden it felt serious. And the room started to fill up. More doctors and nurses and equipment started coming in. And they determined he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood, which, as far as I understand, or understood at the time, was most likely one of two things, either his heart or his lungs. And you hope it's the lungs because sometimes they have fluid in them after delivery, and it's potentially a minor thing. But they did an X-ray, and his lungs were fine, which meant his heart wasn't. So now more doctors and nurses and equipment come in, and it's a terrifying thing. You know, my wife is back in the recovery room. She has no idea what's going on. And I'm standing in the middle of a lot of very worried-looking people, kind of like right now, who are trying to figure out what the problem is. And it's Friday night, and so they call a pediatric cardiologist, Dr. Evan Zahn, who, when they called him, was picking his mother up from the airport. Luckily, her plane was not delayed because he got to the hospital very quickly. They did an echocardiogram, which is a sonogram of the heart, and found that Billy was born with a heart disease, something called tetralogy of Fallot with pulmonary atresia. It's hard to explain. Basically, the pulmonary valve was completely blocked, and he has a hole in the wall between the left and right sides of his heart. And then they brought my wife in, and they wheeled her in, and Dr. Zahn told her what was going on and what our options were. And we decided to take him to Children's Hospital, where there's a world-renowned cardiac surgeon who is, by all accounts, a genius. His name is Dr. Von Starnes. So we put the baby in an ambulance to Children's Hospital, Los Angeles, and on Monday morning, Dr. Starnes opened his chest and fixed one of the 2 defects in his heart. He went in there with a scalpel and did some kind of magic that I couldn't even begin to explain. He opened the valve, and the operation was a success. It was the longest 3 hours of my life, but it was a success. So, they didn't do everything. He'll have to have another open heart surgery in 3 to 6 months to close those holes, but they want to wait until he's bigger, and then he'll have a third, hopefully non-invasive procedure sometime maybe in his early teens to replace the valve he has now. So this poor kid, this is what he looked like on Monday. But this is what he looked like yesterday. We brought him home.